Dear children, today's topic is X-ray diffraction techniques, Bragg's rotating crystal method. Rotating crystal method is used for the study of structure of crystals. Bragg's rotating crystal method in X-ray diffraction. The X-ray diffraction technique used in the study of crystals are of two types known as rotating crystal method and powder method. Both techniques make use of X-ray spectrometer. So we have two methods for the study of crystals. One is the rotating crystal method and the other one is the powder method. So in this class we are going to discuss study of crystals using Bragg's rotating crystal method. Now let us discuss rotating crystal method in detail. First we will discuss the production of X-ray because X-rays are used for the study of crystals. So X-ray tubes are used for producing X-ray. So this one is the X-ray tube. So this X-ray tube is associated with anode, cathode and it is connected to a battery, then metal target and the focusing cup. So in the X-ray tube, cathode is in the form of tungsten filament. So when tungsten filament is heated in the presence of high voltage from the battery, it will emit the electrons. So due to this focusing cup, that electrons will be moved towards this target. So these electrons will be accelerated towards the target due to this focusing cup. So this metal target can be made of copper, molybdenum, etc. So when high energy electrons emit from the battery impinge on the metal target, they will transfer their energy to this metallic surface. So high energy electrons when impinge on the metal target, they will transfer their energy to this metal target, but only a little amount of energy will be transferred, others will be dissipated as heat. And this metal surface which gives off X-ray radiation. So when high energy electrons emit from the battery, from the battery electrons will be emitted, and when they meet the metal target, they will transfer their energy. That electrons transfer, only a little amount of energy of electron will be converted into X-ray, all other energy will be dissipated as heat. So they will transfer their energy to this metallic surface and that will be converted into X-ray. So X-ray will be passed through here. So that X-ray will be having wavelength of all ranges. So the X-ray beam generated in the X-ray tube, that will be having wavelength, different wavelengths will be there. So in order to get a monochromatic ray, that will be passed through a focusing slit or collimator. So collimator consists of two closely packed metal plates separated by a small gap. So we are obtaining a monochromatic ray. So this monochromatic ray are allowed to strike a single crystal. So here in rotating crystal method we are using a single crystal and that crystal is mounted on a turntable. This turntable is fitted with a rotator. So this turntable is fitted with a rotator. So the crystal can be rotated. So this is a turntable. It is fitted with a rotator. So when the rotator is moving, this turntable also can be rotated. So the crystal can be rotated by means of turntable. Why we want to rotate this turntable? In order to get the access to all crystal planes with this X-ray. So we know crystal planes having different planes are there. Different lattice planes are available like 100, 110, 111, etc. Suppose this crystal, this plane is 100. So when this X-ray strike on this crystal, that will be diffracted or reflected and the diffracting angle will be given. Then when we are moving this turntable, another lattice plane will be available, for example 110. So we will be getting another diffracting angle. So the crystal can be rotated by means of turntable so as to increase the diffraction angle at which X-rays are incident at the exposed face of a crystal. So for example, if this is 100 plane, so this 100 plane is exposed for the X-ray. So if you are rotating this one, maybe 110 will come to practice here. So that 110 will be exposed to this X-ray. So for the availability of different lattice planes, we are rotating this crystal using this turntable. The axis of rotation of the crystal, this is the axis that will be perpendicular to the monochromatic beam. So if the monochromatic beam is like this, the axis for rotation will be perpendicular. So the angle will be 90 degree. So when this crystal is rotated using this axis and rotator, these different crystal planes will be available for interaction with this X-ray, and the crystal will be rotated at a uniform rate. So when this X-ray is strike these crystal planes, some of the rays will be transmitted like this. It will go straight, and some of the rays will be reflected or diffracted. Why it happens like this? Here we know when this crystal plane and the X-ray is parallel, that will be transmitted. And if the crystal plane and the monochromatic waves strike the crystal plane at an angle theta, that will be reflected. That is according to Bragg's law. So when this crystal plane, parallel planes are there, and when the monochromatic ray strike the crystal incident ray at an angle theta, that will be reflected or diffracted. And if both are in the parallel plane, that means the crystal plane is parallel and the monochromatic beam also parallel, that will be transmitted. So what will happen here? As the crystal rotates, different sets of parallel planes get positioned so that the monochromatic beam strike the crystal planes at different angles. So here suppose this is one plane like 100, then the angle will be different. If it is 111, the crystal plane will be parallel like this, the X-ray diffraction angle will be different. So when the crystal rotates, different sets of parallel planes it will be positioned for what? So that the monochromatic beam strike the crystal at different angles. Where we know monochromatic ray means the wavelength will be the same. So wavelength of the X-ray will be the same, and the angle of reflection will change as the crystal having parallel lattice planes meet at different phases according to Bragg's law. We have already discussed Bragg's law. Here we know when the planes are changing, for the parallel planes are changing or lattice planes are different, the angle of reflection also will be different. So here I will give you one example. So this is the crystal. Crystal means a cube. Crystal having these three parallel planes. So this one is the monochromatic X-ray. So this monochromatic X-ray is passing through all the plane, and this plane and this X-ray are parallel. So when this is the incident ray and this is the transmitted ray. Here we know there is no diffraction because this plane, these parallel planes and X-rays are in the same direction. Both are parallel, so that will not be reflected or diffracted. That will be transmitted only. Because as per Bragg's law, the incident ray, the ray should strike the crystal at an angle theta. Here both are parallel, so this will not be reflected, that will be transmitted like this. In this example here given, three parallel planes are like this, same three parallel planes are there, and the ray incident at an angle theta. So here some of the rays will be reflected at the same angle theta, some will be penetrated to the crystal and will be reflected at different angles. So here X-rays are reflected or diffracted at different angles. See, this is a third one. This third one here also same, like three parallel planes are there, and this parallel plane may not be the same as these two. So here this angle, this incident angle will be different, and the refracted angle also, reflected angle also will be different. So when the crystal rotates, or the turntable rotates, the crystal also rotates, and different planes will be available for diffraction, and the angle also will be different according to the lattice planes available for X-ray. So here we will be getting different diffraction angles and the intensities of the reflected rays are measured. Here we know some will be transmitted, some will be reflected. So each plane will be giving different angles for diffraction. So the intensities of these reflected rays will be measured using a recording device R. This recording device may be a photographic plate or an ionization chamber. So this photographic plate will be fixed here, and this photographic film will be placed perpendicular to the incident ray. So this angle will be 90 degree. So this photographic plate will be placed perpendicular to the incident ray. The angle for which intensities of the reflected rays are maximum give the value of theta. So here we will be getting different angles for diffraction for different lattice planes, and the angle for which intensity is maximum give the value for theta. So here each plane may be giving different angles for diffraction. Maybe 4 sets of diffraction angles will be possible with each plane. So which plane will be having maximum, that will be giving the value of theta. So the process is carried out for each plane of the crystal, because as the crystal rotates, different planes will be available for diffraction. So that will be carried out for each plane of the crystal. The lowest angle at which maximum reflection occurs corresponds to n equal to 1. So we will be calculating the angle of reflection and which angle gives a maximum intensity with lowest angle. The lowest angle at which maximum reflection occurs corresponds to n equal to 1. The next higher angle at which maximum reflection occurs corresponds to n equal to 2, and so on. So here we will find out the angle of reflection. So some of the rays will be transmitted, some of the rays will be reflected like this, and some reflection may be like this. So this one is the incident ray, that is transmitted without any reflection, and this angle will be measured and this angle will be measured. So these angle will give the value of theta. So which angle gives the maximum intensity? Which angle gives the maximum intensity? That will be the value of theta. So the process will be carried out for each plane same like this. Then we will find out the lowest angle at which maximum reflection occurs. So it should be lowest angle and maximum reflection also should be there. That corresponds to n equal to 1. So here different diffraction patterns will be available, because each plane will give a set of 4 diffraction patterns. So I hope rotating crystal method is clear. Now we will discuss one problem. The value for theta for the first order reflection from the 3 phases of sodium chloride are found to be 5.9 degree, 8.4 degree and 5.2 degree respectively. Find the ratio of interplanar distance between the successive planes. Also find the structure of sodium chloride crystal. So here 3 angles are given. These 3 angles are first order reflection from 3 planes. So for example, it may be 100, 110, this may be 111. So for 3 planes, the lowest angle at which maximum reflection occurs corresponds to first order. So maybe more than 3 may be there, this one. For 100 plane, this also may be another 3 numbers was there. So from that we choose the first order reflection, because that gave the lowest angle at which maximum reflection occurs. Here we have to find the ratio of interplanar distance between the successive planes and also the structure of NaCl crystal. Discuss one problem. The value for theta for the first order reflection from the 3 phases of sodium chloride are found to be 5.9 degree, 8.4 degree and 5.2 degree respectively. Find the ratio of interplanar distance between the successive planes. Also find the structure of sodium chloride crystal. So here 3 angles are given. These 3 angles are first order reflection from 3 planes. So for example, it may be 100, 110, this may be 111. So for 3 planes, the lowest angle at which maximum reflection occurs corresponds to first order. So maybe more than 3 may be there, this one. For 100 plane, this also may be another 3 numbers was there. So from that we choose the first order reflection, because that give the lowest angle at which maximum reflection occurs. Here we have to find the ratio of interplanar distance between the successive planes and also the structure of NaCl crystal. So we know the Bragg's law, n lambda equal to 2d sin theta. N is the order of reflection, lambda is the wavelength, d is the interplanar distance and theta is the angle of reflection. So here we know this one is first order, so n equal to 1. Therefore we can write, because we have to find here the ratio of interplanar distance. So from here we can find d equal to lambda over 2 sin theta. So the ratio for 3 planes, the ratio we can be written as lambda over 2 sin 5.9 is to lambda over 2 sin 8.4 is to lambda over 2 sin 5.2. So this one can be calculated using the calculator. So we can write it as lambda is same in all. So lambda will be cancelled. Then 2 also same in all. So 2 also will be cancelled. So here we can cut lambda, this lambda and this lambda cancel. Then 2. In all the 3 cases 2 is there. So 2 also can be cancelled. So the answer will be 1 over sin 5.9 degree is to 1 over sin 8.4 degree is to 1 over sin 5.2 degree. So this can be 1 over 0.1028 is to 1 over 0.1461 is to 1 over 0.0906. That is 9.61 is to 6.84 is to 11.04. So when we are simplifying this one, dividing with this with 9.61, so we will be getting 1 is to 0.70 is to 1.14. This is in accordance with face-centered cubic structure. So today we have discussed Bragg's rotating crystal method. Hope it is clear. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe for more videos.